appoints 1,200 aides to boost grassroots governance.
Oyo government launches implementation strategy for African Continental Free Trade Area AFCFTA.
On the foreign scene, Utah governor names arrested suspect in Kirk killing as Tyler Robinson.
Now the details. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced that 14 political associations have scaled the first hurdle in their bid for registration as political parties, while 157 others failed to meet the requirements. The decision was reached at the Commission's regular meeting, where it also reviewed preparations for the forthcoming off-cycle governorship elections and the end of tenure area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. In a statement signed by the chairman of its Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Oluyole, INEC disclosed that it received 171 applications from various political associations seeking registration. The statement added that the 14 successful associations will be formally notified within 24 hours. The interim leaders, chairmen and secretaries of the respective associations have in the meantime been invited to a briefing on Wednesday, the 17th September 2025 at the INEC headquarters in Abuja.
The governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, has appointed 1,200 political assistants to serve as change agents and enhance civic engagement across the state. The special advisor on media and strategy to the governor, Kayode Akimade, disclosed this in a statement today. The appointment of the 1,200 aides reflects Abiodun's long-standing emphasis on participatory governance since assuming office in 2019. His administration has repeatedly highlighted inclusivity, grassroots development, and citizen engagement as central pillars of its policies. Abiodun was said to have described the move as a strategic effort to strengthen democratic governance across all nooks and crannies of the state. The newly appointed political assistants are to support the delivery of democratic dividends, articulate the needs of their respective wards, and communicate these needs to the state government. He emphasized that this initiative fulfills Abiodun's electoral promise to carry every ward along in its administration's development programs and to run an all-inclusive government that values the people's inputs in shaping policies and initiatives. The state government further urged the new appointees to contribute significantly to the growth and development of their wards, local governments, and the state at large.
The Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, has accused the Dangote Petroleum Refinery of sponsoring division within its petroleum tanker drivers PTD branch. The union also accused the refinery of resisting workers' rights to unionization and using the instrument of falsehood to weaken the union. NUPENG's position was contained in a statement signed by its national president, Williams Eporia, and General Secretary Afolabi Oluyole. The union alleged that despite signing a September 9th Memorandum of Understanding within the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Dangote instructed his tanker drivers 2 days later to remove NUPENG stickers from their trucks and replace them with those of the newly created Direct Trucking Company Drivers Association, DTCDA. The Dangote refinery was further accused of offering a great gift of free nationwide petroleum delivery, a move that NUPENG claims is aimed at stifling competition and forcing drivers into the company-backed DTCDA.
Nigeria faces the threat of prolonged nationwide blackouts as gas suppliers cut deliveries to power plants over an outstanding 5.6 trillion naira debt owed by power generation companies, GENCOs. Managing Director of the Association of Power Generation Companies, APGC, Dr. Joy Ogaji, confirmed this in a press interview. Dr. Ogaji's warning follows yet another national grid collapse earlier in the week, which plunged the country into a blackout. She explained that the GENCO's revenue shortfall has spiraled out of control, with 1.6 trillion naira added between January and August 2025 alone. She also noted that 60% of GENCO's revenues go to gas producers, meaning that the debt directly undermines fuel supply for power generation.
A taxation expert, Eric Joshua, has noted that the mandatory tax ID will make Nigerians to demand more accountability on government spendings as everyone is captured in the tax net. He listed this as one of the gains of the new tax law while featuring as a guest on the BCOS TV Current Affairs Breakfast Program AM 120. Our reporter, Federal Oluyole, monitored the program and compiled this report.
Nigeria's federal government has introduced a mandatory tax identification number (TIN) requirement for all citizens and businesses effective January 1, 2026, aiming to broaden the tax base and boost revenue generation. This significant tax reform will impact various aspects of financial transaction, including bank accounts, government contracts, and insurance services. Commenting on compulsory tax ID for all on BCOS AM 120, tax expert Mr. Eric Joshua expressed support for the new tax rate because it enables the government to meet the state's needs. He explained that the new tax rate starting January 1, 2026 is more favorable than claimed, with calculations showing business owners will pay less tax than they currently do.
As a student, the law see you as you are dependent on someone's income, either your parents' income or your guardian's income or charity activities. You are dependent. So such person, except the person is doing business, is on that business that such person will be taxed. But if as a student, my parents or my guardians they are giving me allowance, or you cannot tax it.
Mr. Eric emphasized that registering for the tax ID is easy and free online. But for those who are not tech savvy, they can visit business centers and it won't cost too much. He noted that stakeholders have made efforts to sensitize the public about the tax rate, but further awareness is needed to help people fully grasp its significance.
Saying that it's easy for you to register your thing as a petty trader or as someone outside the government or employee circle. If you are in your state, just go to Google, like Lagos State now, search for LIRS in Lagos. It will bring it up. It's easy to register. In Oyo State, go to your Google, search for Oyo State Revenue. Oyo State Revenue.com, it will bring it out for you. If you go to their site, you will see a place at the left side hand side. The first thing you see, registration of thing. Once they click it, what they need from you is, as an individual, your full name, your NIN, your BVN, your phone number, your email, which they can communicate with you. It's not compulsory they will be looking for you or you are looking for them. And it's easily for you as a business owner to pay. If you want to remit your tax, you can sit at the comfort of your phone, pay it. You can use your ATM card to pay. So it's easily as ABC.
Mr. Eric urged the government to increase efforts, enabling citizens to see the direct benefit of their taxes and appreciate its value. Fedora Afolagwe, BCOS News.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oluyole State, Ibadan. The Oluyole State Acting Governor, Barrister Bayo Lawal, has launched the state's sub-national implementation strategy for the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, making Oluyole the first of 591 sub-national governments across Africa to adopt such a framework. Barrister Lawal launched the program during a special event held at the International Conference Center, University of Ibadan. The state acting governor, Barrister Bayo Lawal, described the launch as, quote, not merely a formality but a statement of intent, end of quote, that underscores the state's readiness to seize opportunities under the AFCFTA's agreement. Barrister Lawal also clarified that the strategy does not encroach on the federal government's exclusive role in treaty making, tariffs and customs, but falls within the constitutional powers of states to drive economic development. Addressing the stakeholders present, Secretary General AFCFTA Secretariat African Union Wamkele Mene emphasized that political will, which he acknowledged already exists in Oyo, must be matched with trade finance and financial interventions. He urged the private sector to act as co-partners in implementing the strategy through resource mobilization and expertise, adding that public-private partnerships would be crucial. Representing the presidency, the special advisor to the president on media and public communications, Chief Sunday Dari, commended Governor Seyi Makinde for positioning Oyo State at the forefront of the African Continental Free Trade Area sub-national strategy. He concluded by reaffirming the presidency's support for Oyo State's leadership in advancing the AFCFTA's implementation, stressing that the move places the state ahead of all other sub-nationals in the country.
Children are the foundation of every nation, and their mental health is central to the prosperity and stability of society. A professor of psychiatry, College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, Oluyole, stated this while delivering the 592nd inaugural lecture of the institution. Our reporter, Damilola Daudu, was at the Trenchard Hall, University of Ibadan, venue of the lecture. She files in the details.
The University of Ibadan has hosted its 592nd inaugural lecture with a strong call to prioritize children's mental well-being as a cornerstone for national development. Delivering the lecture titled Our Children's Mental Health, Our Nation's Wealth, Professor Oluyole emphasized that the mental health of children is directly tied to the social and economic prosperity of Nigeria. She noted that early intervention in childhood mental health challenges can prevent long-term consequences such as school dropouts, substance abuse, and even crime, stressing that a mentally healthy child today is a productive citizen tomorrow.
We need to prepare to look after the mental health of our children. Our children's mental health translates to the nation's wealth, because mental health drives brain capital, and this starts at the formative years. The kinds of environments that children are raised in from when they are young. When children don't have the best nurturing at that early age, it affects them for life. So it is very, very important that we send out that message that there is no health without mental health, that it's a foundational aspect. We need to develop the mental health of our children.
Professor Migbodun highlighted the urgent need for safe and supportive learning environments, stronger parental involvement, and government investment in child-centered mental health services. She argued that ignoring these issues could undermine the nation's future growth and stability.
Mental health of children is closely tied to the wealth of nations. The mental well-being of our young people forms the foundation. The journey is far from over. There is no child and adolescent health without child and adolescent mental health. The Center for Child and Adolescent Mental Health should be given full support to thrive and develop its full potential in all areas.
The lecture also underscored the role of schools and communities in building resilience among children, urging policymakers to integrate mental health education into the national curriculum. The inaugural lecture, which had the Vice Chancellor, University of Ibadan, Professor Kayode Adebowale, and other principal officers of the institution, was attended by dignitaries from all walks of life. A cocktail reception followed immediately, which hosted Professor Migbodun family members, friends and admirers, where she was presented an award featuring cutting of cake and group photographs. Damilola Daudu, BCOS News.
Troops fighting to rid the nation of terrorists and other criminal elements a foiled attempt by Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists to hijack 8 humanitarian trucks conveying food items and other relief materials from the Gubio-Damask Road in Moba local government area of Borno State. Major General Marcus Kangie, Director of Defense Media Operations, while making this known today, said during the firefights that ensued on the 3rd of September 2025, scars of the terrorists were neutralized while weapons, ammunition and motorcycles were recovered. He said troops of Operation Hardin Kai from 3 to 11 September 2025 sustained the momentum by denying Boko Haram, ISWAP and JAS terrorists freedom of action in the northeast region. Their efforts led to the elimination of terrorists, their logistics suppliers, recovery of weapons, dismantling of their networks, and support for safe resettlement of displaced persons and their safe return to farming activities. Troops also conducted both kinetic and non-kinetic operations against terrorists in Bama, Goza, Moba, Chibok, Munguno, and Mate local government areas of Borno State, as well as Hong-Mubi North and Gaidam local government areas of Adamawa and Yobe states, respectively. During the encounters, troops eliminated schools of terrorists, arrested 18 suspected terrorist accomplices, while 5 kidnapped victims were rescued.
Kano State Governor Alhaji Abba Yusuf has approved the transmission of a bill to the State House of Assembly seeking to criminalize same-sex marriage and other practices considered immoral in the state. The move was disclosed in a statement issued today by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Dawakin Tofa. Yusuf gave the approval while presiding over the 31st Executive Council meeting, which was held at the Government House Annex in Kwankwasia City. Kano State, one of Nigeria's most populous northern states, is governed largely by Islamic law under the framework of Sharia, which coexists with the Nigerian constitution. Since the early 2000s, when Sharia was formally introduced in Kano and other northern states, successive administrations have taken strong positions on issues relating to morality, culture, and religion. The bill, if passed into law, will specifically ban same-sex marriage and practices locally referred to as Madugo and Liwadi, which the government described as forbidden. Offenders convicted under the proposed law will face strict legal consequences. Yusuf expressed optimism that members of the House of Assembly will treat the bill with urgency, citing its importance to the moral and social well-being of the state.
On the foreign scene, the governor of Utah State today named Tyler Robinson as the suspect in the killing of U.S. right-wing activist Charlie Kirk after a massive manhunt. The arrest raised the bitterly divided country's hopes of finding answers to the shocking political murder on Wednesday. The 31-year-old was killed when he hit by a single bullet in his neck while addressing a large crowd at Utah Valley University in the town of Orem. Kirk was an electrifying presence on the U.S. far right with a huge following that helped Donald Trump build the youth vote in his election victory last November. The president immediately treated the killing of his ally as a matter of top national importance, ordering flags to fly at half-mast and saying he will attend Kirk's funeral. Kirk's hardline views on race, gender, gun ownership, and what many said was his anti-Semitism made him an intensely divisive figure, although even opponents praised his willingness to debate. While authorities said they did not know the motive, Cox noted that anti-fascist slogans were inscribed on 2 of the unused bullet casings.
At least 51 people have been killed during violent anti-corruption protests in Nepal this week, with more than 12,500 escaped prisoners still on the run, while the former Chief Justice Sushila Karkinas has been named interim Prime Minister. Foreign News Editor Folashade Akintola compiles the details and other stories as presented by Bimbo Akombi.
Police confirmed yesterday as the country edges closer to naming former Chief Justice Sushila Kaki as interim Prime Minister. Police spokesperson Binod Gimiri said the dead included 21 protesters, 9 prisoners, 3 police officers and 18 others. At least 1,300 people have been injured in days of clashes between demonstrators and security forces. The unrest has plunged Nepal into its worst political crisis in decades. President Ramchandra Paudel and Army Chief Ashok Raj Shindel are expected to meet with Kaki and a prominent youth activist leading the protest. Gimire said that about 13,500 prisoners broke out of jails nationwide during the chaos. The United States President Donald Trump on Friday announced that the suspect who killed Charlie Kirk had been taken into custody over the killing of this right-wing activist. After a massive manhunt, he says somebody very close to him turned him in. He says he expects officials to give an update later today. Trump says the suspect's father was involved in taking him to the police.
He was an advocate of nonviolence. That's the way I'd like to see people respond. I spoke to Erica, his wife, and we had a long talk, and she's devastated. She is absolutely devastated, as you can imagine.
Trump also said the suspect is 28 or 29. Authorities previously said the suspect appears to be college age. Kirk was speaking at a debate at Utah Valley University when authorities say a shooter fired a single round from a rooftop, fatally striking him in the neck in an apparent targeted assassination.
I'm in the vast minority of my own political party on this issue. Proudly, because I'm morally correct. I'm on the right side of history. When all the chips are down and when all the biology is settled, it will be very simple and very clear.
There was initial confusion over the manhunt for Kirk's killer, with the Federal Bureau of Investigation Director Kash Patel posting the subject had been detained before walking that back an hour later. Russia and Belarus began a large-scale joint military exercise on Friday near the borders of NATO states, just 2 days after Poland shot down Russian drones that crossed into its airspace. The Zapad 2025 drills, long planned but now taking place amid heightened tensions, are being held at training grounds in both countries, including areas close to Poland. The incident earlier this week marked the first time a NATO member has fired at Russian targets during the ongoing war. According to Russia's defense ministry, the first stage of the exercise simulates repelling an attack on Russia and Belarus, which form the so-called Union State. The second stage will focus on restoring territorial integrity and defeating the enemy with support from allied states. Bimbo Akambi, BCUS News.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the top stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced that 14 political associations have scaled the first hurdle in their bid for registration as political parties, while 157 others failed to meet the requirements.
The Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, has appointed 1,200 political assistants to serve as change agents and enhance civic engagements across the state.
The Oluyole State Acting Governor, Barrister Oluyole, has launched the state sub-national implementation strategy for the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, making Oyo the first of 591 sub-national governments across Africa to adopt such a framework.
And from the foreign scene, the governor of Utah State, today named Tyler Robinson, as the suspect in the killing of U.S. right-wing activist Charlie Kirk after a massive manhunt.
That's all from the Newscope desk for now. It was packaged by Bode Akinjola and delivered by
Jamila Elegbede. Good evening.
And Ido Shekoni. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m. Good evening.
sports and entertainment. We got everything you need and so much more, yeah.
98.5 FM. Oluyole. 98.5 FM.
Hear me now. Down to the number one station. Ready for quality information. Brighten up your day in so many ways. Tune to 98.5.
Oluyole. 98.5 FM.
98.5
FM. Oluyole. 98.5 FM. 98.5 FM.
ètò ìlera nípìnlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń gbèrú sí i pẹ̀lú akitiyan ètò ìjọba ọlọ́lá jùlọ gómìnà Olúṣèyí Abíọ́dún Mákindé láti pàṣẹ iléeṣẹ́ elétò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní kó àwọn èwe fi ń dọ̀rọ̀ tàn síbẹ̀ ìgbìyànjú iléeṣẹ́ elétò ìlera ń tẹ̀síwájú láfi rán àwọn ìyálọ́mọ létí wípé bọ́mọ bá ti pé oṣù mẹ́fà lẹ́yìn oúnjẹ omi ọyàn pọ̀nbélé àwọn oúnjẹ aṣaralóore alápòpọ̀ mashed foods la máa fún wọn jẹ pẹ̀lú àfikún omi ọyàn àwọn oúnjẹ bíi ẹyin ẹja èso ewébẹ̀ ẹ̀wà ẹ̀pà sóyà ìrẹsì àgbàdo iṣu àtàwọn míì àwọn oúnjẹ wọ̀nyí ló kún fún okun agbára ìjípépé ìdàgbàsókè àlàáfíà àti ìlera tó péye bákan náà ní ká gbájúmọ́ ìmọ́tótó ara àti àyíká bá a ṣe ń fọmọ oṣù mẹ́fà láwọn oúnjẹ yìí látùmá fún mi ọyànlá kí wọ́n lè jẹ́ àgbéyè àti àwòyè bó tilẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé ètò ọrọ̀ ajé lágbára lásìkò yìí ẹ jẹ́ ká pèsè ọjọ́ iwájú rere fáwọn ọjọ́ ọ̀la wa ìṣòmó jìnnà fún ajẹ́ o ìkéde ló wá látọ̀dọ̀ ikọ̀ àárín àti ilé-iṣẹ́ elétò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Yàrá mo tún gbédè èyí yàtọ̀ títún tí mo tún gbédè.
Àlàyé ń tó ṣùmàrè bọ́jọ́ bá